It's story time. Story, story, story time. Let's read it story time. Story, story, story time. I'm geeked at story time. Story, story, story time. You and me, it's story time. Story, story, story time. Let's achieve. Hello, my beautiful K crew, and welcome to Story Time with me, Kayla. How was your weekend? Did you have a lot of snow and cold weather? I know we sure did, and it's currently snowing right now. Now, I am so glad you are here with me on this Sunday because today we have another special Arthur feature. Today, we will take a look at a book from Arthur Yuno, who has written two beautiful books with two very important messages. And so, without further ado, for our double feature today, the books we'll be reading tonight are called The Last Meal and Trevor and Me. You ready to see what these books are all about? Ready, set, let's begin.
Hey K Crew, please be advised, our first book, The Last Meal, does include some sensitive topics, including death row, last meal requests, and jail. If you aren't comfortable with these topics, please feel free to skip ahead to Trevor and Me. Here we go. The Last Meal, written by Yuno, and illustrated by Nadia Popova. On a beautiful sunny day, colorful flowers blossomed outside. Somewhere in America, inside a rural town prison, a guard handed death row inmate Chase a piece of paper and told him, "Fill this out by tomorrow." Chase knew immediately what the form was. It was the last meal request form. Chase was born into a poor family. Food was not always available, and he was often hungry. Many of the crimes he committed were due to hunger. The thought of filling up his stomach with his favorite food gave Chase something to look forward to. Chase grabbed a pen and jotted down his last meal request on the form. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and chocolate ice cream. On the evening before his execution, Chase could not contain his excitement. Smiling at the food in front of him, Chase put his hands together with sparkling eyes as he saw his favorite foods placed in front of him and said a final prayer. "Thank you for this meal." On a humid, hot summer night, Peter could feel the sweat dripping off his forehead as he sat inside his prison cell. Peter's execution date was 2 days away. Despite the heat, he was shivering on his bed. "Peter, how many times do I have to tell you to fill out the last meal request form?" Even with the guard yelling at him, Peter refused to fill out the form. The guard became impatient, shut the food flap, and turned off the lights in Peter's cell. The next evening, Peter was served meatballs, green peas, 2 slices of toast, and an apple. It was the same simple meal that was served to the other prisoners because he never made his last meal request. Peter did not eat his meal and spent the rest of his night quietly in his cell until it was time for his execution. After Peter was executed, a prison guard was cleaning Peter's cell and found a sheet of paper under his bed. It was the last meal request form that Peter did not turn in. On the back was a handwritten note from Peter. "Dear relatives of the victim, my mind is filled with regret and shame. I'm so scared to die that I cannot eat anything anymore. I am sincerely sorry for what I have done. I hope to be born again with a good heart, and I will work hard to help others. Please forgive me. From Peter." The leaves outside had turned shades of red and yellow. Many people were celebrating the arrival of fall. Death row inmate Fred looked serious as he handed his last meal request form to the guard. The guard looked puzzled and said, "Pizza and grape soda? Why would you request something kids would eat?" "Oh, I see. I will have the chef prepare your requested meal." The next day, a little boy rushed into Fred's prison cell. "Daddy!" "Son, thank you for coming. How have you been?" "I've been all right," answered the son. Fred could tell his son was worried. What's wrong? Mommy told me today is the last day I can see you. Are you going away for work? Not exactly, but if you ever miss me and feel lonely, look up at the moon. I will be looking at the same moon, and no matter where we are, we will always be connected, promised Fred. Okay, if I ever get lonely without you, then I will imagine you are on the other side of the moon. That's my boy. Be good for your mommy, okay? Here, I have your favorite food on the table. Let's eat before it gets cold. Yay! Pizza and grape soda! You still remember my favorites, exclaimed Fred's son. Hey, don't forget to say your prayers before you eat, Fred said to his son. Fred's son replied, Okay, let's do it together. Thank you for this meal. The season had changed to winter, and it was a cold, snowy, and quiet day. Here it is. Death row inmate James gently handed his last meal request form to the guard. The only thing written on the form was Mom's coconut pie. Although most of the requests made by death row inmates were fulfilled as much as possible, James' request would be a challenge since his mother was no longer alive. One of the guards had been thinking hard about what James wrote on his last meal request form. While he was thinking of ways to make James' request come true, two other guards passed by. The three of them brainstormed together and finally came up with a brilliant idea. One prison guard visited his mother living in a neighboring town when his shift was over that evening and asked her to teach him how to make a coconut pie. The second guard called his mother, who lived in a different state, and asked for her coconut pie recipe. The third guard, who was on night shift duty, searched the internet for Mom's homemade coconut pie recipe during his break time. Early the next morning, the three guards came together in the prison kitchen and shared their coconut pie recipes. Soon they realized their recipes were all different from one another. Not all the recipes used the same amount of sugar or same type of coconut flakes. One recipe used butter instead of margarine and milk instead of buttermilk. After they compared their recipes, they agreed that all three seemed delicious and heartwarming. As long as we make it with love, the pie should taste similar to James' mom's special recipe. That evening, the guards knocked on James' cell door. One of the guards was holding a freshly baked coconut pie. We hope this tastes like your mom's coconut pie. James looked surprised and lost for words. After a moment of silence, he took the pie with tears in his eyes. Thank you very much. The sweet, nutty scent of coconut pie filled the room. James brought the pie closer to his face and took a deep breath through his nose. In that moment, memories from his mother's homemade coconut pies flooded his mind one after another. Her very first homemade coconut pie for his 5th birthday party, the day she gave him 2 pieces of her pie to celebrate his graduation from elementary school. He remembered sharing her coconut pie with his teammates after a soccer game. Then there was the time he ate slightly burnt coconut pie when he brought his first girlfriend home to meet his mother. And 3 years ago, when James spent Christmas Eve with his mother, he was reminded of the last time he had her special pie. James softly closed his eyes, clasped his hands, and said for the last time, Mom, thank you for this meal. The end. Trevor and Me, written by Yuno, illustrated by Luuba Cyril Tiyuk. Trevor is my best friend, with a shining smile like the sun, silver curly hair, and a wrinkled face. He always wears his favorite red beret. Trevor is my special friend. He's older than my mommy and daddy. I think he's as old as my grandma and grandpa. When I'm with Trevor, I have so much fun. When it's sunny, we take a walk in the park. Every Wednesday, we chat at our favorite cafe. Time flies, and before you know it, it's time to go home. Trevor and I both love coffee. Midnight black coffee for him. Mine is warm milk with a dash of coffee. Cheers to our friendship. It seems like Trevor doesn't have much of an appetite lately. Hey Trevor, aren't you gonna eat your soup? It'll get cold. I'm not that hungry today. He used to eat all of his lunch, but now he only nibbles on the bread. Sometimes his face gets cloudy and he coughs uncontrollably. Could you walk a bit slower? He used to walk briskly, but now his legs are weaker. He can't keep up with me without a cane. One day, Trevor looked sad. He said to me, "Soon I'll have to go somewhere far, far away. We won't be able to see each other again, but I'll always watch over you." Oh, I'm so sad that we won't be able to see each other anymore. What do you mean, you'll be watching over me? My body will disappear, but I'll always be around. You won't feel lonely. But if I can't see you, how will I know that you're around? I'll send you a sign. What kind of sign? You'll know at first glance that it's me. It'll be something we both love. Will you promise to always watch over me? Yes, I promise. Today, tomorrow, and forever. Trevor and I pinky promised. Next Wednesday arrived. Trevor was really gone. I went to the park where Trevor and I used to take walks. I also went to the cafe and ordered my regular coffee milk. He wasn't there. Had he really gone away forever? I wondered if I really would never see him again. The park seemed like a completely different place when I went alone, and my milk coffee even tasted a bit bitter. I feel like my heart was turned to stone. I miss him so much. Ping! What was that? Something small, brownish green and round is sitting on the park bench. A coffee bean! Something we both love. There! I found you, Trevor. After that, I started finding Trevor in various places. When I won first prize at the track meet, when I blew out my birthday candles, at my ballet recital and graduation ceremony, when I cried after falling, and when a strong gust of wind broke my umbrella. Trevor is always with me. Thank you for always watching over me, Trevor. I'm not lonely anymore. Please always stay with me today, tomorrow, and forever. The end.
Yes, K-Crew! I really have to applaud the author because she has done a wonderful job explaining grief and loss in such a nice, calm way. Now, I hope you enjoyed reading this book as much as I did. To find your copy of her books, make sure to head on over to her Shopify account, and you can also find these books on Amazon. And of course, be sure to follow on social media. A big thank you to Yuno for these books and for writing them. I thank you all out there for joining me, but it's time to say goodbye. Are we ready? Here we go. Goodbye, 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 my friends. Goodbye to you. I hope to see you again real soon. Be proud of all your work tonight. Now climb into bed and sleep real tight. On a count of 3, let's say goodnight. 1, 2,